Hello again. Now we're going to move on to session 2. And in this session, we're going to look at strategy before tactics. Now, I told you so much about it in the first session that we're going to actually go through this and start to learn how to build our strategy. And this is only part 1. Doing the strategy is going to give you control. It's going to give you clarity. And it's going to save you a ton of money. So it's very important that you just pay attention to this one. Now, going back to our definition of marketing is basically getting someone who has a need to know, like, and trust us. And in our marketing, we have to do it as a system. And that system is includes 7 steps. The first step, strategy before tactics. Second step, fill your marketing hourglass. The third one is publish educational content. Number 4, create a total web presence. 5, use a lead generation trio. 6, making selling a system 2. And 7, live by the calendar. So let's start with the outline of this session, which is basically how to identify our ideal client. This session is primarily focused on one of the components of building our strategy. This component consists of how to identify a client, what makes an ideal client ideal, how to define it, how to locate him, how to understand that client, and how to sketch. Now, when we talk about identifying the ideal client, to build our strategy, there are 2 components. The first component is to identify the ideal client. The second one is to define a core difference. And the third one is to connect the dot. So this first part is so important in setting your strategy. And the second part, which is going to be for the next session, which is basically define your core difference. What makes you different from everybody else? What value that you bring to that client that is different from the other competitors, the other people, or other businesses who say they do and sell and produce what you produce. And then we're going to connect the dots between the 2. We're going to start to think, how are we going to communicate to that ideal client the core difference that we have? So we're going to be connecting the dot between the 2 components of our strategy. So let's start. What is ideal? Now, a lot of people ask me, okay, all clients are supposed to be clients. What makes them ideal? So let's have a look at what makes an ideal client. The ideal client values your difference, which means that they value your approach. They do see that you have value more than anybody else. So they can see that you're a difference, and that's what keeps them coming back again. That's what really keeps them coming back, because they can see that you're different. So the ideal client is someone who values your difference. The ideal client is profitable. Well, isn't that a silly question? Everybody is profitable. But not exactly. Because there are clients who would just, come to you and say, I want to buy from you. But they're really so high maintenance. They suck the life out of you because they want more for the money they paid for, which makes them not profitable. Ever had a client that you said, I wish I don't have this person? I've seen people say, I'm going to pay this client to leave me because I don't want him. So you're looking for profitable clients. You're also looking for clients that already refers you, because they're so happy, they're so thrilled with the experience that they've had with you that they're actually referring you. Now, the important aspect of identifying the ideal client is that there are clients which you should not be doing business with. Let me tell you something. You cannot be all things to all people. It's as simple as that. You need to identify that particular client. Sometimes it just happens. The phone rings, somebody wants something, and you say, okay, how hard can it be? It is something that you've not done before, but you feel that it's not difficult, and you go ahead and do it. And the next thing, what happens is that you're distracted. You are doing something which you're not good at. Let me give you a very simple example. You know the cupcakes? A lot of people now, it's a worldwide industry to actually do cupcakes. This lady is very good at what she does. One day, she gets a call from one of her customers. And that customer tells her, can you do a birthday party for my son? She thinks about it and she says, I haven't done birthday parties before, but how hard can it be? So what happens? She doesn't have the resources to do the birthday party, and the whole party goes into shambles. It was a bad experience. So what happens? That customer was so upset that she stopped dealing with you because she's had a bad experience with you. You got yourself into something which is it's not your business, and you thought it was okay. It has really distracted you from what you're good at. It's very important to stop taking things which is not you don't add value to it. Another example, I would say, there was this debt collection company. It is really specialized in collecting debt from businesses, for businesses. Like banks, for example, they have these creditors or borrowers who are not paying. So they hire this debt collection company as outsourcing. So one day, this debt collection company gets someone walking through the door, an individual, saying, I owe this guy some money, can you help me return that money back? And they're not dealing with individuals, they're only dealing with businesses. So that client kept calling every day asking about his loan, asking about his debt collection. And he became a distractor to them. He sucked the life out of them. So when you're dealing with people that you're not supposed to be providing service to or providing a product for, they're not ideal for you, you shouldn't take them. These are not your clients. They take your resources, they take their time, and obviously they're not going to be happy with what you have to offer. So you need to focus on your ideal client, the client that values your difference, the client that is profitable, that doesn't require a lot of high maintenance, and the client that refers you as well. Now, this next slide is very, very important. It really gives you a lot of clarity about the type of people that you're dealing with. If you see this arrow here, it looks at the profit side. So you're going to be looking at the higher it is, the more profitable the client is. And on the bottom, you have here is the referrals. As it goes to the right, you get more referrals. Now, the detractors, if you look at the bottom left-hand side there, the detractors are those people who you should not be dealing with, or people that are not so profitable, that are basically taking so much of your time and resources, and whatever you do for them, they'll never be happy. And in fact, they're going to be detracting you. They're going to be taking your resources, your time, and they're never going to be happy. you need to put those clients that you have now on your list, you put them there in these 4 grids, identifying the detractors, the people that you don't want as clients. Now on the bottom side as well, on the right hand side, are those people who refer you. They're not profitable, but they do refer you. And these can be your colleagues, your friends, your neighbors, the people that you know, in your community. They're just basically trying to help out, and they refer you. They're good people. We still want to identify them and know who they are. Now on the top left-hand corner are the profitable people. Those are the people that are basically helping your business to grow. You need to identify those. Now, whether you have 10 customers or 20 customers or even 100 customers, look at them and start to implement what we call the Pareto 80-20 rule, which means who are the people, the 20% of the people that I'm dealing with that are generating 80% of my revenue. Who are they? Start to identify them, put them on a list, and plot them there in the profitable quadrant that you have there. Because you need to know a lot about them. You need to study them, and you need to identify them. And from that list, you need to start identifying who are the detractors, who are the ones that you don't want to be your clients. You don't want to be dealing with it. In fact, you want to actually pay them money to leave you because they're just so much high maintenance and they do suck the life out of you. So once you've looked at those lists, begin to look at the most important segment of your clients. Those that are super, super, super ideal. Those are that are profitable, and they also refer you. Now these, what we call, are the real ideal clients, because these are the people that are not only going to do business for you 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and many times, but they are also going to go out. They are actually telling people about you. So once you put those list of people that are actually profitable and refer you, and those that are only profitable, start to look at the common characteristics of your most profitable customers that also refer your business to their friends, neighbors, and colleagues. So the top right-hand box there are the people that you should be building the relationship with, and you should say, if I can have 10 of those, my business would be great. So you need to understand those in so many ways. Let's see how we can start to accumulate the information about those people. Who are these people? We need to look at their demographics, at their psychographics, at the geographics of those people, and the behavior. Now the demographics and the geographics are probably the easiest one to identify. Well, when I say demographics, if you're dealing business to business, so you need to identify the type of businesses that are best fitted for your type of product and service. What is the size of this particular business? In what industry? How many people do they hire? How much revenue do they generate? Start to understand the type of businesses that you best fit to deal with in terms of the demographics. And if you're dealing business to consumer, that means you're dealing with individuals. You need to identify those demographics in terms of their income, their gender, whether they're male or female. Are they a family, or are they single? You need to see what type of job do they hold, what kind of income do they earn, and begin to understand the demographics of their people. So if it's business to business, you identify certain elements of that kind of client. If they're business to consumer, you look at those demographics that really describes that kind of client. Now, the geographics is very easy to identify. Is your business localized in the sense you only get those people who are living or operating around your area? Or do you get people from outside your area or even outside your country? Do you actually deal with people outside your country? So you need to find out who are the best clients that fits your business. Now, the other point that I'd like to refer to is the psychographics. This is very crucial. If you can crack this one out, you're on your way to doing a lot of success. The psychographics refers to the triggers, the pain that they have. What is it that makes them want to buy your type of product? What are their values? What are the things that, are they traditional people? Are they fashion kind of people that are actually going after fashionable stuff? What are their values and what is it that makes them want to be your type of client? What triggers them? The behavior, the last point here that we're talking about, the behavior is a very, very important aspect. What do these people do in order to get the information that to buy your kind of product? Let's have a look. How do I locate my client? Where are they? Where do they hang out? What do they read? And what do they listen to? And what do they do? And what do they search online? Now, I need to be able, once I have identified those, I need to be able to find out, how do they get their information? Are they the type of people who actually go out every night to eat? Are they radio listeners? Are they TV watchers? Are they reading newspaper online, or are they reading newspaper offline? I need to know what they do in terms of behavior. That's very important, because if I do want to reach them, I want to know where they are. So identifying that, trying to find out where to locate them is very, very important. The next aspect of drawing the type of client that you have is to understand them. What are their timing triggers? What will make them tick? What will make them wake up in the morning and actually come and buy from you? What are their motivation? What is it that, people usually have two things. Either they have limited time and obviously limited money. When they do prioritize, where do you stand as far as their priority is concerned? Where do you come there? What is the timing trigger that will make them come and buy your type of product? Where do they research? And what do they research first? Do they actually go and ask other people, their friends, their family? Are they more of the word of mouth type of people? Or actually they do go and search online? You need to understand them. You need to be able to sort of find out if they're the type of people that will find your kind of business online or offline. You also need to understand the problem or the pain. This is very important, because when I need to communicate to that client, I need to use the language that will touch their pain and the solution that will solve their problem. So I need to understand what is the problem or the pain that they're going to solve, they're looking to solve or resolve with your kind of solution. And you are also looking at what are the benefits to finding a solution. What is the benefits? People always talk about features. I have this product, it's big, it's small, it's very high tech, it's fast. They always talk about the features. What I'm trying to do here is I need to understand the benefits. Let me give you a very quick example. When people buy a drill, you know what a drill? The things that makes a hole in the wall. People are looking for a hole. They're not looking for the drill. The benefit is to get that hole. So you need to start to talk about the benefits rather than the features of your type of product and service. The other thing is that once you've been able to answer all of those questions, you begin to sketch your client. Now, sketching your client means like draw a picture of that particular client, using that information that you have collected. Sketching could be, it's like you begin to write down a description, a profile of the client that you're trying to serve. You can say, I am Mariam, I'm 30 years old, my son just graduated from school and I'm trying to buy him a car, and the car has to be, has to have the certain features like safety, and it doesn't consume a lot of fuel, and you begin to write that kind of sketch. So you create that profile for that particular client that you have identified on the top hand right quadrant box that we've just looked at, and you begin to create a profile. Now, creating a profile, it's not an easy thing. It's tough. But when you look at that list of clients, it becomes much, much easier because you can see them. You can see those people and talk to them. And the second one is to assign a persona. What kind of personality is that person? Personality is a difficult thing to assign to anyone, but you need to basically find out the kind of people that you want to be dealing with. Are they concerned about safety? Are they concerned about being noticed, or people are talking about what they wear, what they drive, the kind of house they live in? Are they the kind of people that you want to be dealing with? Images of clients. I also tell people that if you can actually put a picture of an actual client that you have served before, and you begin to describe that client in as much detail as possible, it makes it easier for you to draw that profile. So what we're trying to do here is to basically try to go into as much detail as possible about those clients. Some of you may say, I don't have that information. I don't know where to locate them. I don't know what their timing triggers are. I don't know any of that stuff. Well, there is something that you can do, which is called a survey. A survey is something that you can actually do, asking all of those questions to the best clients that you have, in order to be able to identify that information that we've discussed today, in terms of their buying triggers, in terms of their where to locate them, in terms of what do they read, what do they do in terms of behavior, what is their buying trigger, timing trigger, what are their priorities, and you be able to get so much information by just doing that survey. Very few people do that, and for sure your competitors are not doing that. So if you are able to actually get that information about your clients, that's going to serve you very well. This is probably the most underutilized step in businesses. This is the first step of building your strategy. You need to get this right from the beginning. If you can get this particular step right, you are on your way to building a successful business, because you need to understand the type of client that you're dealing with. I mean, let me give you a very simple example, and maybe you will see this all the time around you in other businesses. I know a business that the only thing that he knows about his clients is the first name and a mobile number. That's the only thing he knows. I mean, this is very difficult to determine who are the kind of people that you're dealing with. If the only thing you know about them is a first name and a mobile number, that doesn't give you anything. That doesn't give you the kind of business that you're in, and how you're going to develop that business. How are you going to get more clients of the same if you don't know the ones that you already have? Identifying your existing clients is probably the most important step that you can do for your business. Without this step, everything else that you do is just not going to be working very well. The money that you're spending on advertising, on communicating with your clients, without knowing who they are, it's not going to work. As simple as that. What you need to do is to find out the type of client you're best fitted for. And like I said, you cannot be all things to all people. You are very good for a certain narrow segment of the market. And you need to be able to identify and describe and locate and write a description about that type of client that you're dealing with. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So all your efforts in building your business and growing your business has to be based on this foundation of identifying your ideal client, and to say, if I can get 10 more of this type of client, my business is okay. But you need to identify and describe that person that you really want 10 people like him or her. Before you can do that, you won't be able to grow your business. This is very, very fundamental. Right, now it's your turn. It's your turn to go and look at the list of clients that you have. Whether you have 10, 100, or 200. You need to look at that list of clients and start to plot them in these 4 quadrants. Who are the people that really are high maintenance, although they seem profitable, but they really are giving you a really hard time, and you would like not to deal with them? Sometimes, people say, or I tell people, that your ideal client, you can find out who your ideal client is when you don't know who are the clients that you don't want to be dealing with. So this is really the first step that you can do, is to identify who is not your client, who shouldn't be your client, and you plot those in the detractors, because they're high maintenance, they're always complaining, and they don't even pay on time, and even when they pay, they don't pay the whole amount, and basically you don't want to be dealing with those people, and you call them detractors. Then you try to identify the people who are referring you. Who are your friends, your colleagues, your family members, your networking sort of community that are actually not really dealing with you a lot, but they actually do go out and tell people. They're still good people, and you want to be able to take care of them, but you also need to educate those referrals about your product, because if they're not dealing with you and if they're not profitable, then they don't know much about the value that you bring to the customer. So you need to educate those people, but you need to identify them and plot them in that quadrant, which is on the right-hand side, the bottom side. Now, the big question is, who are your profitable clients? Again, look at the 20-80 rule that we talked about, and look at those clients that are generating 20% of your business, of your revenue. Look at the numbers, your numbers, the number of revenue that you're generating, and I try to identify the 20% of those people, the 20% of the people that is generating 80% of that revenue, and plot them there. And look at them very carefully and say, why are these people not referring me? Let me give you an example. There was this jeweler who sells jewelry. He has a client that will never, ever, ever refer him. You know why? Because she doesn't want any of the other women wearing the same ring or the same earring and copy her. But that's okay. This person will continue to be profitable, but you cannot rely on her referring you, because she just is that's her personality, that's the persona that we spoke about. And yet, the same client has another customer. She will always refer people to him because first of all, she's got a big network, and she's trying to help others as well as, help you, because she feels that you bring value to her and to the people that she refers. So therefore, she trusts you, and therefore she would like to refer people. She would fall on the other quadrant, on the top hand side, on the top right hand side. Now, to be able to also build a profile for those customers, you need to survey them, like we mentioned. You need to go out and talk to those people that are on that quadrant there, on that box, who are profitable and refer you, and try to find out what do they read, and if they read, do they read online or offline? And if they are searching for your type of product and service, where do they search? Where do they get their information? You need to find out what is their timing trigger. What would trigger them to buy your kind of product? For that jeweler that I just spoke about, it's very easy. If it was a birthday party, there was an engagement, there was a wedding, graduation events, things like that would trigger that person to buy from you. So it's very important to list those questions and go ask these people that you think you want 10 of. You want 10 more customers like that. And go try to identify what triggers them, what makes them buy your type of product and service. And where do they come from? What is their income level? And where do they live? Try to find out as much information as possible. And I would say you better get someone else to do the survey for you. I always felt that the surveys, your customers tend to lie to you or not tell you all the information. And if you get someone else to actually do the survey for you, your customer might be more sort of able or more willing to give more information and to be more honest about the value that you bring. So it's very important that you do this survey. And I always tell people, this survey has to be done all the time. It's not just once, maybe every 6 months. You do surveys with 5, maybe at least 5, or 10 of your clients. And then the next 2 or 3 months do more surveys, because this way you can collect more and more information as you go through your business. So the idea here is to identify and draw a profile for the best clients that you want to be dealing with, because these are the clients that will help you grow your business for the rest of your life. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next session. Goodbye.